I, on behalf of the entire Mangalayatan University, welcome all of you to this webinar. I request the head of the department, Faculty of Law, Mangalayatan University, Dr. Neeraj Prakash Rai, sir, to please introduce our esteemed guest today.
Thank you, Madam. I would take this opportunity to welcome our speaker, Honourable Justice Shri Ramakrishna Prasad, Judge, High Court of Andhra Pradesh. I would also like to welcome Professor K.R.S. Sambhasev Rao, Vice Chancellor, Mangalayatan University, and Professor Benita Kaur Saluja, Pro Vice Chancellor, Mangalayatan University, and Registrar, Dr. Kishore Sir, Mangalayatan University, Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh. And a warm welcome to all the guests and participants in this event of current relevance, challenging legal education and its implications. So I further request Mrs.Srishti Soni to kindly brief about the journey of our chief guest. So please, ma'am.
So without much ado, I would like to introduce our esteemed guest speaker of today, Honourable Shri Justice G. Ramakrishna Prasad ji. Sir completed LLB from Andhra Christian College of Law, Guntur, and enrolled as an advocate in the year 1991 in the Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh. Sir completed LLM in Constitutional and Administrative Law from Acharya Nagarjuna University. He started his career as a lecturer of law and later joined the chambers of Honourable Shri Justice Lavu Nageshwar Rao Garu, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and set up his practice in the Supreme Court. In the year 2000, he enrolled as an advocate on record in the Supreme Court. He has practiced in various diverse fields of law like constitutional law, arbitration, medical negligence, criminal matters, civil matters, service laws, and many, many more. He has been the standing counsel for various organizations like APSRTC, GHMC, Andhra University, etc. He was also the special standing counsel for the government of Nagaland and also for the Rajya Sabha Secretariat. Sir has practiced at various Supreme Court, various High Courts like the Delhi High Court, Punjab and Haryana High Court, and various national tribunals in Delhi for 26 years. After which, he was elevated as a judge of the High Court of Andhra Pradesh in 2022. Since then, he has been delivering beautiful judgments that have been part of important legal discourses throughout the country. Sir, please, I request you to address this webinar as we all are eagerly waiting for your valuable insights on the subject of legal education.
Thank you very much, Srishti Dixit Soni, and good morning to you all. It's a happy occasion to be meeting the faculty members, the younger generation of the students, Dr. Professor K.R.S. Sambhasev Rao, Dr. Neeraj Rai, Srishti Dixit Soni, other esteemed lecturers and professors of law students. Namaskar to everyone. Now, Professor Sambhasev Rao, esteemed Vice Chancellor, is known to me for perhaps for more than 30 years. I know him as an icon of dedication and sincerity in his work. Right from my student days when I was doing my LLM in the Nagarjuna University, where he was a faculty member of biotechnology. Since then, although my study of law has had no relation to the field that he has been into, but my observation of him, his sincerity at work, the dedication which the students very often, his students speak about him. So when a few years back, when I had got the information that he's been appointed as the Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, which is a central university, I personally thought that that is the most befitting position that has been given to him, because he is a person who has the zeal to, take this education, system of education forward. And I thought that the central government has actually recognized very rightfully and placed him as university's Vice Chancellor. While he was a Mizoram University Vice Chancellor also, I knew about his activities. Constantly, absolutely constantly, he used to organize several seminars and webinars on this basis. Otherwise, a Mizoram University, which is in the remote corner of India, which is generally not known to public, has become popular only because of several programs which have been undertaken by Professor K.R.S. Sampasivarao. I feel extremely happy that after his tenure there, he has been appointed as the Vice Chancellor of your university. I have no doubt that he will take your university forward in a similar way that he has made the Mizoram University popular. Now, today's topic is challenges in the legal education and its implications. It's a vast subject. Of course, we have very little time to cover. This is basically concerning the younger generations or the students of law. I think your university, you have the 5-year course only. Are you having the 3-year course also, or only the 5-year course? I think it's only the 5-year course.
Both the courses we have.
Both, sir.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. So now, when we actually look at this mammoth size of this subject, that involves the role of a student, a law student, when he completes his degree and then joins the field, maybe a profession, maybe as a law officer, or maybe as a legal advisor. What is his role? How they have to mend their future in order to befit the role as a lawyer or even a legal advisor. Now, if you look at the kind of syllabus that we have in these law subjects, in these law courses, and then the role that a lawyer has to play in the future, we will have to go back little into the history also. The lawyers, as you know, law profession itself is one of those very, very old professions. The law profession has started as a profession in England way back in the 12th century. So, as you know about this Magna Carta, your teachers would have already taught you Magna Carta 1215, the Bill of Rights, that it was in England that the chronicling of even law reports and all have started even in those centuries itself. So England has a long history of legal profession. The role which the lawyers have played over a period of time. Now, the role that the barristers, as what they had, the courses where our Indian barristers also have done these courses. At that point of time, it was called as bar at law, and subsequently it has been transformed into barristership. Now, these barristers also had played a very, very key role in our freedom movement. Mahatma Gandhi was a barrister. Then we have several other freedom fighters who were barristers. Now, it is not just by coincidence that they are barristers, but after having studied the province of law, that they have understood what their rights are and what are being deprived by the colonial rulers. And that is how the lawyers, the barristers at that point of time, have played a very, very key role in getting India achieving its freedom. Now, when you look at the legal profession as it is, because once you finish your law courses, you will either choose to become a lawyer or you choose to become a law officer, maybe in a corporate body or government or wherever. Now, when you think of this, what role a lawyer has to play, apart from personally improving his legal acumen for the sake of profession, a lawyer has to play a social role, which is paramount. Now, doing the law course and eventually becoming a lawyer, it is not just for the sake of oneself, but it is for the sake of the society. So the lawyer will have to first understand what his role is that is going to be in the future in the society, and only accordingly you have to mold yourself to become a good lawyer. Now, when you look at the history of our legal education also, as the law has developed, the law course has been formulated, and we have the systems of legal education. And while studying law, we also learn what our rights are, the statutes that we have, the importance of the Constitution as the supreme law of the land, and as grand norm, as what we call it in the jurisprudential concept. And then thereafter, the statutory law that is developed, the role of the legislature, what the Constituent Assembly has, how it has worked, and what kind of work has been done, and the product that is the Constitution of India, which has come, and today the role of the Constitution that we have in a democratic society like India. These are all the things which are part of your curriculum. Now, looking at the Constitution as it is, we know that the Constituent Assembly, after India has achieved independence, the Constituent Assembly has been formed, and they have worked under the chairmanship of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. We have one of the longest, bulkiest constitution that compared to any other constitution in the world. The Constitution is the one that defines the functions and powers of the three organs of the state. The Constitution guarantees fundamental rights for its citizens. The framers of the Constitution have imbibed into the Constitution all whatever setbacks that we had in the society, the baneful systems which were in practice, they were all to be dispensed with, create rights which are on par with the human rights to the citizens of this country. And on this basis, that the great document came to be drafted. Through the preamble, we have given the Constitution to ourselves. And by virtue of the preamble, the Constitution has come into effect. So the role of a lawyer, when you traditionally look at how the law course was, and today what is available in the law course, there is a world of difference. Traditionally, if you see that we were only confined to the textbooks and the statutes, professors and the law teachers used to come and teach in the classrooms. Now, with the advent of information technology, you have so many things at your command. Even in those days, like even to do a small research, even on a small little topic, one would have had to spend hours together to do research and then get knowledge of this on a particular topic. Today, that is not the situation. Click of a button, you get everything. Even the journals that we used to research and find the relevant topics and the precedents, it used to take hours together. Sometimes it used to take even days to do research. Whereas today, at the click of a button, you have everything. Now, as the information technology has progressed, new developments have come, so are the legal challenges also which are arising. So from a traditional lawyer, as what he has seen, the problems in the society, today, the issues that arise, which are transformed into legal issues, are far more complex, very, very complex, that unless a lawyer equips himself in a proper manner, he will not be able to deal or provide a solution to the client. Now, if you look at the legal systems in the West as compared to the legal system that we have in this country, we see that we have, through the Constitution, we have borrowed a lot of ideas from the West. The parliamentary system of governance, the fundamental rights, because the rights were always available to every citizen of every human being, in fact, but they have been codified into the constitutions. Now, as what a law student, how he has to prepare himself for the future, I will tell you one small little story. A lawyer, a young law graduate who has just passed his bar exam and wanted to become a good lawyer, he's written a letter to Justice Felix Frankfurter. Felix Frankfurter was a judge of the Supreme Court of the United States. So this young advocate has addressed a letter saying, "Sir, I've just completed law and I have been admitted into the bar. Now, how to go about, what should I do to become a good lawyer?" So for this, Justice Felix Frankfurter has given a very beautiful answer, which is very, very relevant to all generations of lawyers and the future lawyers also. He said, "Young man, to become a good lawyer, you need to know the history of your country first. You need to know what is the culture of your people. You need to know what traditions are there in the society. You need to know how the nature exists." So he said, go into the woods, enjoy the nature, read poetry, read about your culture, read about the history. And then he said, if you do all this, he even said, listen to good music. And then he said, the law will come onto you automatically. So this is the answer which Justice Felix Frankfurter has given to one of his pupils, saying that this is the way in which one has to approach the law. For young lawyers like you, or to be lawyers like you, what is also necessary is not just the reading of the text of law, but you need to have an understanding of our own society, our history, not just the recent history, but even the very old history. As you know, India has got a very, very ancient history. And starting from there, one has to know how the Indian culture has progressed, how the civilization has further progressed, and as to today as what we are. So you have to understand the heroes in the history, not just the warriors alone, not just the freedom fighters, but everyone in India who has contributed in terms of discoveries, in terms of mathematicians, the great mathematicians that we have, the greatest scientists that we had, even like Aryabhatta and so on and so forth. We have to know about their lives, their dedication, and their history to take this country forward. The solution and then the responsibility lies in your hand. So for a lawyer to become a good lawyer, what you require is to know what the history of this country is, very, very past history, right? Starting from there, even till the sacrifices which have been done by our freedom fighters and the way in which the Constitution has been drafted, what has been incorporated into the Constitution, the colonial sufferings and all were also taken into account. And our Constitution framers have incorporated all such provisions into the Constitution to ensure that such sufferings which the humanity has suffered during the colonial past should not be repeated. Now, what is exactly the purpose of legal education? The direction in which the legal education should directly relate to the role of a lawyer, and that is to provide a path for a young law graduate to assume the role of a lawyer. These assume a lot of significance because lawyers have a very responsible social role that is to be played. Now, if you, I would rather say that for this, the law faculty has to play a huge responsible role as to how you train your students to become future lawyers. It is not just the knowledge of law that is required, but as I was just explaining to you, that it also requires you to train the students in such a manner that they become socially responsible. This is fundamental. This is very, very core to the concept of legal education. So, in fact, while I address the younger generation or the students, I would also make an earnest appeal to the law teachers to include certain things into your curriculum and as a part of daily routine in your discourses in the classrooms, to see to it that the lawyers assume a very responsible social role. Now, that apart, the morals and ethical values which are there in the society should actually be imbibed by the law students, and in fact, the law students actually should what do you say, practice the morals and ethical values without deviating. Integrity is one. It is not just limited to the judges alone, but integrity is necessary for every lawyer. After all, it is only from the law profession that the judges would come. So, right from the day of your practice, adhering to the legal ethics and professional ethics as well as the morals in the society is very, very important. Now, when it comes to the legal ethics and morals of the society, which a lawyer has to adhere to, I would tell you my own experience or experience of every lawyer who comes into the field, legal profession for the first few years. A lawyer is always confronted with several social issues, several ethical issues also. There are set of schools of thought which would say that to become to improve your practice, one has to do so many things and you have to go ahead. Then there is also other set of the other school of thought which is fundamental as to how a lawyer has to conduct himself. Let me tell you one thing, friends, that there is no shortcut to success, but it is only by sheer hard work, and more so in the legal profession, sticking to your ethics and moral values is fundamental, absolutely fundamental. There is no dilution. There cannot be even 1% dilution to the ethical values that you have to follow in the future. Now, if you look at the traditional subjects, what we have studied in the course of law in our days, and even prior to that, the emphasis and the importance of subjects in law have been changing. If you see the ancient, rather maybe about 300-400 years ago, and today, or maybe just about the last century to the present century, those days we have a lot of civil disputes, and although we had the corporate law in practice in England, it was insignificant. But today, because of the incorporation of the several companies and the industrialization and so on and so forth, corporate law has become one of those very, very key subjects when you compare it with the past. So what I'm trying to emphasize is that the importance of subjects also keep changing with the changing times. Say, for example, we had the arbitration law of 1940 and even prior to that. The arbitration systems are not something very new, but has been quite ancient. But if you see today, arbitration, the subject of arbitration is one of the key subjects in the practice of law, which was not so in the yesteryears. Similarly, with regard to the issues, the subject of intellectual property rights and the copyrights and trademarks, etc. One point of time, these subjects were not so significant. Today, they have become very, very significant. Then the law of insolvency was a very traditional concept of law of insolvency. Now, today we have a bulky, fully evolved code to deal with bankruptcy and insolvency, and also to deal with the defaulters on the corporate side and how to deal with them and so on and so forth. So with the change of times, a subject which was very insignificant like the insolvency law now has become one of the major subjects of study. So that is how the subjects of law also, the significance of subjects of law also keeps changing. Law, as you know, is in the continuous process of evolving. So in this process, some subjects pale into insignificance while some subjects come to the forefront which were earlier not so significant. So this is what I intend to just emphasize, that law students today, as what you're studying, different subjects of law, compared to the traditional law, that the subjects that we have studied, there is definitely a lot of difference. So one has to be conscious. And in choosing the right field when you come into the profession is not only paramount, but there is also another, choosing the right office, choosing the right guru as a senior is also fundamental. A good law office will pave way to shape you into a good lawyer and into a good ethical lawyer. So choosing the right senior is also very, very important for you, especially in the present days where the challenges are innumerable when it is compared to the previous days. A lawyer has to be very conscious in choosing a senior. As what I have seen in the present days, which was not the situation in the previous days, was that this bond between guru and shishya, between a senior and a young lawyer, this is actually fading away. Several lawyers are coming straight into practice without being trained in a good law office. It has its own setbacks. When it comes to, there are a lot of things which a senior would teach you. And even in the bar, I see that at the same time, I see that some of the senior lawyers also, there's a lot of distance between the seniors and the juniors. Even the senior lawyers also, I keep, even in my regular interactions with the bar here, I keep requesting the senior lawyers to form panels to see to it that the younger generations are trained properly, because they are the future of the profession. They are the future to this legal system itself. That is the reason why I keep telling them that the senior lawyers should actually help the younger generation to mold themselves into good lawyers. Now, well, if there is from any of the students, well, towards the end of my discourse, I would request the students also to interact. If you have any questions or any issues with regard to the profession or the legal education, you may also put forth so that we can actually discuss after some time. In fact, I was also a law teacher for some time, and I taught law for about 3 years. Even during the time that I was teaching law, I have noticed that the interest on the law subject or the law course has changed. And today, law course, which in fact was a very insignificant course during my time, has become one of those very paramount courses of demand. That is because of the need for lawyers. As the society has become more complex, the need for lawyers is now become very, very significant, which was not there in the earlier years. So there is a lot of scope for the lawyers, for the young lawyers of today, that the future, there is bright future for a lot of for the lawyers, and there is no occasion for anyone who is ready to do hard work to fear about it. A law student had sent a query. Yes. 1 minute. Maybe if the queries can be sent to Madam Shri Dixit Soni, and if question by question, if she is able to read it out, then I will be able to answer. Because as you know that we are traditional, we are not tech savvy. I will not be able to retrieve the full question. So if you are able to send your questions to Madam Shri Dixit Soni, she will read up.
Srishti ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Srishti ma'am audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
If you have 4 or 5
Hello.
questions, yes, madam, you can start reading out questions. Then we will, I think, answering the questions.
Srishti ma'am?
Yes.
Sir, Tanisha Srivastav has asked that since the morals of individuals and the country as a whole also are shifting rapidly, so how should a lawyer keep up with this change and make the correct choices?
Yes, that's a wonderful question. In fact, this is in fact the need of the day. Shraddha is very, very right in asking this question and also stating that the values of this in the present day society are dwindling. Absolutely right. In fact, I would also agree with you that the general standards in this society across the world, not only in India, but across the world, are actually going down. Firstly, I would say that the reason is that we are not keeping ourselves to have the knowledge of our past, be it any culture for that matter, that you take any religious text for that matter, they all religious texts teach and preach good moral values. We are actually drifting away from these values. We are only picking up materialistic things, as if only the materialistic things exist. And when it comes to morals and ethics, we individuals, we start thinking that everyone should follow, but it is not meant for us. So this is the way in which and then of course the life has become a race, a running race constantly because of the competition that we have. And in that competition, people are ready to rather deviate from the standard moral practices. If you remember, I don't know, you may also do some study. There have been some conversation or communication between Tolstoy and Mahatma Gandhi on certain issues. Now, we tell the youngsters that you should set goals and you should strive hard to achieve those goals. Now, there is one thing which we miss in educating our children, that definitely you must set goals. But if you want to achieve those goals, there is a particular path which you have to follow. That is a moral and ethical part. So achieving a goal, setting a goal and achieving a goal is not so important as while achieving the goal, while you follow a moral path, is paramount. So in that conversation between Tolstoy and Mahatma Gandhi, they had a lot of dialogue. And Mahatma Gandhi finally says that the path you follow is more paramount than the final goal that you achieve. This is fundamental not only for a lawyer or a law student, but for everyone in the society. But again, it is only from that very society that we all come. We all come from the very same society. So the very social standards should firstly improve. There's no doubt about it. And therefore only I said that not only a duty is cast upon the teachers of law, but teaching law subjects, but every teacher in the school system, in our education system, firstly should concentrate not just on goals and achieving goals, but the path one takes to achieve the goal. That is the most fundamental, even better than achieving a goal. So you set a goal, and if you think that you have to achieve the goal by hook or crook, this is not what is countenanced. This is not at all what one has to do. What you have to do is that not just fixing a goal, but the route that you take or the manner in which you try to achieve the goal is most important. So this is the way. Say if somebody fixes a target of, say, becoming a first ranker in the class, then you maybe you resort to malpractice and write your answer script very well and then get high marks. Now, getting a high mark is your goal, all right. But what is the path that you have followed to get that high mark? And finally, is this path, finally the goal that you have achieved, will it be of any help in your future at all? So your role starts from there. Setting of a goal, a very high goal, is important, but more important is achieving the goal through the right path. So, as what a learned young student has posed, that yes, definitely values are going down, and finally it is in our hands. It is in the hands of the teachers, and it is in the hands of the parents, and it is in the hands of everyone. I'll tell you once, even the parents have a very important role to play. Suppose if father and son are traveling in the car, father is driving the car. Now he jumps the signal, cop stops him. Son is sitting beside the father. If the father tells the cop, all right, I've done a mistake, tell me how much should I pay? Your son learns that method of following the law. If the father bargains with the cop, saying, take something and then set me free, it is the son who's learning something else, which he is not supposed to. So when that situation comes to the child also does the same practice of taking the wrong path, because he thinks that his father is the icon, he is the example. So what his father has done, there's nothing wrong in doing the same, adopting the same practice. So the youngsters, they only learn from the senior generation, their parents, their teachers, and so on and so forth. So firstly, if we have to set our younger generation into the right path, the older generation will have to correct themselves to see to it that their children learn good practices and good habits. Yes. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
Madam Shruti.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. One, Pranshu Mishra has asked about the relationship between senior and junior lawyers during internship period. So he has asked, what are the necessary things which the law students should learn during their internship period to know more about their field, and how the senior lawyer can help in deciding these important issues?
Yes, another very interesting question and very important also. Relationship between senior and junior, be it during internship, be during their pupillage, be during their clerkship, or as a junior after doing law. As we were just discussing, that even this relationship also, the Guru-Sishya relationship, ultimately, fundamentally, it boils down to only that, the Guru-Sishya relationship. This relationship is also undergoing a drift, undergoing a change. Maybe that the seniors also, because of their own busy involvement in the profession, and similarly from the side of the youngsters who joined the office, you see, both have a role to play. The senior should be able to definitely spend some time in not just about the practice, about the subjects alone, but even with regard to, as we were discussing, the ethical part also. Now, when it comes to discussion and the subjects which are involved, see, traditionally, I will tell you how the seniors used to train the juniors. Even while there are stenographers in the office, very often, traditionally, seniors used to give dictation to the juniors. Not because the stenographer is unavailable, but it is because the very purpose was that while the senior dictates, there is a lot for the junior to learn, a young advocate who joins the office. And mostly, it used to be the youngest advocates who joined the office who were called to be for taking down the dictation which the senior is going to give. So when the senior drafts, when he studies the facts and then when he starts drafting, he would give dictation to the junior. And the juniors also never used to sulk about it. They may have their own reasons for sulking also, but then they had no other option but used to definitely take down. Voluntarily or involuntarily, there is still a learning process. The junior used to learn. So the senior used to, while giving dictation, he also used to discuss facts, discuss law, and then the way in which the facts are presented, the junior will get on hand experience of dealing with firstly the facts and then dealing with the law and so on and so forth. So in every part of making out a case, a junior was involved. Similarly, even from the side of from the youngsters who have just joined the senior's office, I'm just telling you that even if they would sulk about, as if they used to treat it as a punishment that senior is putting it to them and then sitting with the senior for a couple of hours to take down the dictation. Especially some of the juniors whose handwriting was very bad. Then not only during that time, but even after taking the handwriting, now they used to get it from the seniors because the youngster is not able to read out what he had written. But keep that aside. But what I'm saying is that the learning process would begin from that stage itself. Now, as I was just mentioning, that the seniors also should take out some time and in the sense should dedicate some time, not only just for their own practice, but to see to it that their young juniors learn something in the form of drafting, in the form of research. Research was a big thing those days. For today's lawyers generation, younger generation, research is not a very onerous task because at a click of a button, you give the catchwords and then you get the serial of cases which have been decided, which you can use them as precedents in the courts. But those days, even that was very important, to look for a subject and then to prepare a brief for arguments and so on and so forth. Today, you have this benefit even while sitting in the courtroom with the senior. As the arguments progress, the juniors are able to assist the seniors by just operating on the computer and then getting the right precedent then and there itself. and then right on the laptop, they are able to just read out the relevant portions of law, and then that's how it used to go on. So definitely, I would say that the senior-junior relationship as what existed should be restored back again for the future, for the sake of the future of the younger generation, because the younger generation is again the future of the country itself, the future legal profession of the country. So at the same time, the young juniors also should have no inhibition in putting their doubts, clarifying their doubts with the senior. Somehow, even if your senior appears to be very, very busy and lacking time, you must somehow, even while traveling in the car with him or whatever free time that they have, while sitting in the canteen having a cup of tea, that you interact and then put your doubts to him and then get them clarified. So you should not have, a junior should not have inhibition in asking your senior your doubts and then getting them clarified. So this is the way in which the Guru Sishya Parampara should continue.
Sir, Mukta Bhatile wants to know a rather interesting answer. She has asked if there is any kind of relationship between artificial intelligence and judgment writing.
Yes. So, well, for today's context, this is also quite a relevant thing. You see, the artificial intelligence, there is maybe that it would replace many, many things in our today's life. But there is one thing which artificial intelligence can never, ever replace, is the wisdom of the human being, is the wisdom of a judge. Mere application of law alone, yes, maybe like a computer or even a calculator, 2 + 2, the calculator will tell you how much. So even an artificial intelligence can only answer in the context of what is fed to it, but the human judgment is always superior to it. Artificial intelligence can never replace our judicial system or even scrap it, even in the minutest sense. This is because, as what we see, be it judges or even as advocates when they're arguing their cases, that after putting forth the issues of law, you will also put forth certain issues of equity about the sufferance of the human being in a given case, sufferance of a party in a given case, then the appreciation of all the facts by taking all the sum total of all the facts. And then the judge decides not just in accordance with law, but what is justice. Deciding in accordance with law is not necessarily always doing justice. So maybe as a youngster now pursuing law course, you may not be able to understand, but then you can take it that artificial intelligence will never be able to and is never, we can only utilize it for certain things, maybe for research, maybe for getting the legal precedents as what it is and all that. But it can never be an engine which can write judgments. In a very limited way, one can maybe judicially also still be able to use artificial intelligence in those routine minor offenses and things like that. That what is the punishment for a minor offense and what is the fine and so on and so forth. But when it comes to the complex issues of in a civil practice or a criminal practice or in any other statute, the judicious mind of a judge can never be replaced with that of artificial intelligence. We should utilize artificial intelligence to some extent, but not to utilize it in judgment writing and so on and so forth. Because that may deliver a particular order, but that cannot be an order which is a just order. Yes. Any other question?
Yes, sir. One more question is there from Shri. She wants to know how to balance studies like the basic legal graduation studies simultaneously with preparation for exams, competitive exams like judicial services and all other competitive exams. She wants to know how to do everything at once without getting pressurized or failing at everything.
Well, if you're taking up multiple tasks at a time, then you have to equip yourself to be able to deal with these. Well, study of law, as I said, that always you don't require to have superior grades in law, so long as you understand the theme of law. So you don't need to be spending so much of excess time in the study of law. As I just said, that to become a lawyer or to become a judge, you don't need to have great knowledge of statutes and the provisions of law. You need to know what the Indian culture is. You need to know what is just and what is right and what is wrong. And you need to know what your society is. And as Felix Frankfurter has said, law will automatically come on to you. So if you want to tread yourself upon preparation of for the civil services and other things, you may do so, but then, well, you're the best judge as to how to adjust your time. Nothing is impossible. You can. There are many people who do multitasking. Firstly, our mothers at home, they are the multitaskers. So they are your best teachers to guide you as to how to do multitasking. Take guidance from your parents. Okay, wish you all the best for your civil services as well. If you're preparing for judicial services as well, now that situation would only arise after you finish your law course, is it not? So you will not be simultaneously be preparing while studying law. You will not be simultaneously be preparing for judicial exam. That situation would arise only after you become a law graduate. Yes. Any other?
Thank you so much, sir, for answering our students' queries.
So,
Before
we conclude, I wish all the students all the very best. Happy Sankranti, happy Lori to you all. So study law well, but more paramount is observe ethics and morals in wherever you are, not only in practice but in your life, and you will definitely do very well. I wish you all the best. I wish all the best to the university. I thank the Professor Vice Chancellor, Shri K.R.S. Sambasivarao, for giving me this opportunity. Dr. Neeraj Raj, Madam Shri Dixit Soni, I thank you all. All right. With this conclude.
Sir, I would like to invite our Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Vinita Kaur Saluja ma'am, to please give the vote of thanks. And Mr. Sonu Paroji, please stop presenting. Mr. Sonu Paroji. Ma'am, please unmute us.
Thank you, Srishti. Good morning, and I must extend my gratitude to Justice Shri G. Ramakrishna Prasad ji for a wonderful session. Wonderful session. I must say that this session was really enriching for the faculty as well as for all the students who are pursuing law, study of law, and the way you have explained to all the addressing all the issues of the students and my faculty members, like to become a good lawyer, you've got to know the history of your country, the culture, the religion, and it is so, well said. And also how important the law has become these days for everything, and the different branches of law. It has how one branch has taken over the importance of the other branch, and your stress on your wisdom, telling our students and the faculty members to achieve the goal, with any goal, your goal, without compromising on the values and ethics of being a good human being. And of course, I do agree that AI is an aid to us. It helps us in everything, research, everything. But AI can never replace the judicious mind of a lawyer. I really do agree with you, sir. And thank you for sparing your valuable time for all the participants. And I extend my gratitude to all the participants and my staff, Professor Neeraj Rai, Shruti Dixit, and all the entire staff and my students for attending this valuable webinar, which have really, I am sure every participant must have gained something or the other, and we all have been, must be gained everything. And of course, thank you very much, Honorable Justice Ramakrishna ji, and for sparing your time. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you very much, my lord.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Happy to be meeting you all. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All the participants are informed that the link for the certificate has been shared. So you click on this link,
Okay.
fill the form, and put the correct email ID, because on that email ID only you will get the certificate.
Okay, ma'am.
I've shared the email ID on the chat box.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Srishti, Soni ma'am, and all the participants also.